And thanks to all my panelists, and thank you, Pastor Ali, for being here and for your leadership. I'd also like to thank the authors of the report, as well as Rollback Malaria, for releasing this impressive and important report, especially at this critical time. The fact that almost 750,000 children have been saved in Africa alone in the last 10 years is a real testament to the leadership and the resources that have been devoted to fighting malaria. This is the commitment of donor countries that they've made to support this work through initiatives like the Global Fund, the President's Malaria Initiative here in the US, as well as other initiatives globally. But also the recipient countries who have shown incredible leadership in taking control over this disease and working to implement life-saving programs around the world. At Friends of the Global Fight, our job is to advocate on behalf of the Global Fund in the United States. The Global Fund is the world's largest health financing organization, and as that, finances nearly 2/3 of all malaria treatment and prevention programs worldwide. The majority of programs that the fund supports are in these areas that are hardest hit by malaria. And the Global Fund has very deliberately taken on this challenge of eliminating malaria, and we have laid a strong foundation in order to rid the world of it by 2015. As an example, 2 years ago, the Global Fund's board, in which the US is a major participant, countries were asked to submit very ambitious proposals aimed at scaling up malaria programs. And that country response was, in a simple word, amazing. There was an increase in the number of applications, in the size and the quality of malaria proposals, and more than 2/3 of those proposals were actually approved by the board. Of the 94 overall Global Fund proposals, nearly half of them targeted malaria, and in making that round the largest round for malaria in Global Fund's history. That outcome, along with the global attention to the disease that continues to be here, really has set the stage for where we are now, which is that final push at eliminating malaria in countries where it is prevalent. If we can secure that global support to sustain this continued ramp up in the next phase that we're moving into, we can in fact meet the Millennium Development Goal targeting the elimination of malaria in these countries by 2015. Today's report makes clear that with that universal coverage of effective malaria control that we meet this year and maintain that through 2015, an additional 3 million children in Africa could be saved. Now is that time to make sure that we're able to meet that goal, and the Global Fund is actually a critical piece of that success. It's a big year for the Global Fund this year. In a couple of weeks, donors from around the world will be coming together in New York to basically make their pledges to the fund for the next 3 years. And these pledges will set the stage for meeting many of those MDGs. Because the US was the first contributor, but continues to be the largest contributor to the Global Fund, its contribution will set the tone from other countries. And if the US comes through with a strong commitment, we feel that other countries will be compelled to also do more. But the global support is critical. And if we don't see that overall support, many of these MDGs will slip through our fingers. And as Admiral Ziemer said, they are fragile, and especially those that relate to strengthening the health of children. The Rollback Malaria report really gives us all a glimpse at what can be done with sustained and expanded support, and we cannot afford to pull back now. I realize that we're talking about reports and numbers, which can also get a little abstract, but to be clear, these are the lives of children, and children who deserve a fighting chance to see their lives to adulthood. And with robust funding globally and through the Global Fund and other critical programs, this will give them that chance for a healthy and productive life. We know we're making real progress, this report shows that, but the final test really lies ahead. And it's really, as we decide as a world whether we continue on this path to eliminating malaria completely, or do we retrench and watch these hard-won gains dissipate. This report should convince us to stay the course and finish the job. So now I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Ambassador Mark Green, who's the Managing Director of Malaria Nevermore Policy Center.